Expectations are high once again that OPEC will extend the 6-month production cut, with ministers from both Russia and Saudi Arabia signalling a willingness to continue with these restrictions for longer in order to ramp up the price once again. Rhidoy Rasheed, head of oil reports at Energy Aspects, joins me now. Hello to you. Thank you for joining us today. So, as I was saying, OPEC and indeed non-OPEC oil ministers, they are considering this global extension of the supply cut for maybe 9 months or so. What will that do to the price? Will it immediately give it a boost?
Well, what's important is that not only is that the deal is extended, but that we see OPEC exports decline in the same manner that production has. Now, the problem over the first 6 months of this year is that visible stock draws have been almost negligible. Now, what's important is if the deal is extended, which we do expect, that exports fall in the same manner that production does.
And what happens if they don't agree on anything then, to the price?
Well, we're expecting that they do agree to a deal. If they don't, then it'll be very bad for markets, and we don't see any way of prices sort of responding to the sort of $60 range that could happen towards the end of the year. But we definitely think that it is absolutely necessary for OPEC to roll over the deal if we're to see those visible stock draws happen towards the end of this year.
And what about the other oil reports that we're expecting this week? Because we've got the API, the EIA oil reports. As we know, it's all about the supply glut, isn't it? It's not just all about OPEC. They no longer have the power to manipulate the entire oil market, or do they?
Absolutely. You mentioned the EIA there. I think before the meeting at the end of this month that it's important that we see some crude stock draws coming out of the US data, because that is the most up-to-date data that we have on inventories at the moment. So if we do see that, then we'll have a much greater chance of the extension of this deal leading to an uptick in prices. But again, as I mentioned, that would be towards the end of the year once we start to see the visible stock draws come through.
And Rhidoy, what else should we be watching then? So we've got the OPEC decision. We need them all to come to an agreement on extending this production cut. We've also got the API, the EIA, those reports too. Is there anything else that we're missing here?
Another factor, which I say would be quite important, is that we see the return of Chinese buying. Now, the issue with China is that the teapot refineries are currently awaiting their next quota, so buying there has been quite slow recently. So if we do see a return of strong Chinese buying, that will definitely help the market out of its current bearish sentiment and put a lot more faith in the return of Asian demand. And also, if we can see better macroeconomic data coming out of China, there's been some concerns recently that credit has tightened there, so that's sort of added to the bearish sentiment of late. But I would say those two factors are quite important.
Rhidoy, just going back to the OPEC factor, we're now 6 months on from that original agreement, but the price is still struggling. So even if it was to be extended, doesn't that tell us that in another 6 months' time we're going to be in exactly the same boat?
Now, that is a worry, and the worry is that a lot of people in the market are worrying that, what's to say that the next 6 months are going to be any different to the first 6 months of the year. But we actually disagree with that, because we've just come out of a period of heavy refinery maintenance. And not only that, but OPEC themselves have been drawing down their own stocks, which have not been visible. So as we move into the second half of the year, as some of the OPEC stocks have been drawn down, as well as refineries coming out of maintenance, we do think that we will see some large stock draws towards the end of the year, and then prices should hopefully be able to pick back up again.
Okay, OPEC optimism there. Thank you very much indeed. That's Rhidoy Rasheed talking to us today from Energy Aspects.